Hey, family. What's up? What's up? Welcome to the African Ancestry Experience, where we discuss how Black people view ourselves, how we as Black people view ourselves in Africa. It's our anniversary. Cue Tony, Tony, Tony. We're celebrating 19 years today, y'all. 19 years as the pioneers of genetic ancestry tracing for Black people around the world. You don't want to miss this birthday celebration, so stay tuned. I want to know you.
I wanna know ya, Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya, Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia. I wanna know ya, Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya, Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia. I wanna know ya.
This is the new season of the African Ancestry Experience, where we're activating identity-focused conversations with the African diaspora. Trace your DNA and find your roots, and then explore more about who you are. People always ask me how to get started, and my answer is always to get a test kit. But we do have some free tools, and so you can always check out africanancestry.com. We have a quiz, we have a blog, we have lots of things on the site to help you learn more about how to get started if you're not quite ready to take a test. And we are celebrating for our anniversary, so we have a major gift, 10% off the entire site, everything. So if you've been wanting that pendant, now you can get 10% off the pendant. Oh my God, look at this. Everybody's in the house. Menelik is here. Vote is here. Roberta, Robert, Daniel. Oh my goodness. Our Cafe Cubano, Keys, Montreal. Hey. Plachette's in the house. Wim Payanje. How is Valerie? How's my little friend? Kim, Norma. Y'all must have known Dr. Kittles was coming on here. Y'all are up here in full effect. Tristan, sent your swabs in today. Okay, all right, sounds good. Thank you for all the congratulations messages. Darnell Clayton in the house. Hey, Angel, King Joseph. Oh my goodness, I haven't said hello to everybody in such a long time. Avanti, Mary's in the house. I love it. Thanks all of you. Shout out to Doug Jackson in the house. Monique. Woo, 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 woo. I'm hyped up. Y'all got me hyped, and we just got started. Okay, let me pay attention. So hopefully you're liking this, you're sharing, you're subscribing. Turn on your notifications so you won't miss a single episode. See, those of you who had notifications knew in advance that we were going to have our special guest on tonight, Dr. Rick Kittles, because you got a notification. I want to see some birthday emojis, birthday cake and emojis if you're watching this on the replay, because we are celebrating our 19th anniversary with my co-founder, Dr. Rick Kittles. Without further ado, let's bring the man who got this whole thing started onto the screen. What's up, Dr. Kittles?
What's up? This is I'm feeling some serious energy over here. This is really nice. This is really good. I like
Look
this.
at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. They were ready. 701. Everybody was here for you. Where are the birthday cake emojis? I want some birthday cake emojis. Where are my emojis? Welcome.
Wow,
We got folks on Facebook. We got folks on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been waiting for you.
Facebook, YouTube. What about Instagram? Is that on there too?
No, you don't. You can't go live on Instagram at the same time.
Okay. I don't know. I love it. I love the energy.
How about we have a 19-year-old?
Who, me? You?
You and I.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we do. Yes, we have a 19-year-old.
You're not my baby daddy anymore.
Oh, man. Yes, we have a 19. I mean, that's amazing when you think about it. I remember when we first started. You remember this, Gina? And you told me, you said most companies don't last 5 years. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, well, we're going to get a good 5 years out of this. And next thing you know, it was 10 years. And then it was 12 and then 15. Now, 19 years. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Oh, God. We have a lot of people to shout out over 19 years. We could be here. We could be on here all night, but we definitely have to shout out Cynthia Paige.
Oh, yeah.
If it weren't for her, we would not be here right now.
That's right. That's right.
Shout out to Cynthia Paige. And then we got folks who've been rocking with us since '07, like Share Vision, Doug Jackson at Share Vision, Nicole Taylor.
Yeah, Cole Taylor. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. We were like in a little office, and we was just shooting emails back and forth.
Well, wait, when we started, I was in New York.
Oh, that's right.
You were in DC.
I was in DC. You was in New York, and then you were like, I guess I better come out to DC because I can't handle this out here. That was great, though. That was great. That was one of those stories where it's, we just said, hey, we should do this. I think we did a little bit of research and
no business plan,
and just set it up. But yeah, I mean, but it was all, an accumulation of years of the genetic research I was doing. And I was just running around wondering, what am I going to do with all this data? How can I help, Black folk? And everybody's like, well, can you test my lineage? Can you tell me something? And I'm like, yeah, sure. But I didn't have that infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? The business model. So I'm excited. I mean, 19 years. I mean, it's a blessing, and I thank everybody for their support. You have no idea how. I mean, you always have. I mean, when you got something big, you have support, but you always have haters too. But I'm not going to say anything about the haters, but I do want to thank those cats that are always been with us.
Well, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you always have haters, you know that.
Well, I want to talk about that for a second because I was interviewed by Tavis Smiley last week.
Okay.
And he asked me, well, first of all, I had to thank him because do you remember this? All the work we did for African American Lives One.
Yes.
All that work we did for them behind the scenes. And then they had a release party, like a launch event. And for some reason, we weren't on the guest list. So I called, they had it at the Schomburg.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We weren't on the list. So I was talking to Isaiah. Excuse me. You got me choked up. I was talking to Isaiah, and Tavis Smiley was the host of the event, the MC. And so Isaiah was like, that's not right. That's not right. So he called Tavis Smiley, and then all of a sudden we had an invitation. But anyway, he asked me about how we were able to stay focused on what we had to get accomplished in the face of other companies in the industry.
Right.
How would you answer that?
I mean, we were very focused. I mean, I think we knew what our mission was. We knew that we were fitting a niche, and it was an important niche, but it was more so, it was beyond business. You know what I'm saying? How you say, oh, this is a business decision or whatever. This was a decision for our people. And for me, I felt, and I think you felt the same way. We were doing something, we were doing something that was bigger than just this business. And so when you do that, you have a sense of purpose, and you have this focus. And I think that's probably what kept us focused, because there was a lot of hate, a lot of distractions. You remember, I remember that story. We were working with a company in Utah, and remember the owner was this billionaire, right? I'm not gonna say no names. He was a billionaire. And we're in a meeting, me and you, and he says to us, why do you guys want to have a for-profit company? Why don't you remember that? And what was your response? How did that make you feel, Gina? He said, why don't you set up a nonprofit? He said, right?
I don't remember what I said. Do you remember what I said? I know what I would say today.
Yeah, you didn't say anything. I think you got up and just left the meeting. That was the strangest thing. I mean, here's a guy who had like 6 companies. He was a billionaire, and he's telling us, right. Why are you setting your company up to make money? It's like black folk got to be poor all the time, right? We're supposed to be poor.
The thing that gets me, Rick, is how the scientific community wanted you to give them your database.
Right.
They kept pushing like you were compelled to share your data. And I didn't understand that. I was like, Rick, what makes them think we're going to give away our core competency?
Right. You know, it's funny because science is very schizophrenic. And I use this term schizophrenic because at one level, you know, science is supposed to be empirical, non-biased. You're supposed to share your results so everybody else can do the same thing and figure out if it's real or not, right? So part of what we call peer review is giving your data up, and then people say, oh, it's real. But then there's the other side of science, which is very competitive, very intellectual property driven, and you don't share that, right? And so when you look at biotech industry, you look at some of these scientists who've made a lot of money, leveraging their knowledge base. It makes no sense to do that, right? All these other companies, whether it was Family Tree DNA, it was Roots DNA out of England, Oxford DNA, Oxford Ancestors out of England, relative genetics, and then 23andMe. None of them shared any of their data, but yet they wanted me to share my data. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, they didn't have a lot of data at the time. But if somebody would have made them share their data, it would have been an embarrassment to them. I think it would have been an embarrassment.
Yeah. And from a business perspective, it just made no sense. I didn't even know about science. I didn't know anything really about science, the industry, until I met you. But I was like, I was insulted. Like, who would do that? Why would we just wouldn't even be in business if we did that? And we're still the largest database of they still, after all this time, they still haven't come close.
Right. But it's been, it wasn't an easy, 19 years if you really think about it, but we just stayed focused. I'm thinking back of how, when we used to farm out some of the sequencing of the DNA to certain companies, and they would give us these rates that were just astonishing. I'm like, you're doing this because we're a Black company. I've already checked out that, with these other companies, what they're paying you for this, and you're charging us 3-4 times that amount. And they never had a reason, to explanation, a reasonable explanation. But it was very frustrating. And things like that, if you're not committed, it would create a situation where you just say, throw your hands up and you walk away. But we just kept focused. We just kept pushing.
That's what I told him. And you know what, Rick? You know what I think it is now, which I didn't know. I wouldn't have said this then, but it's the ancestors.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's the ancestors that are pushing us to do this. Lisa Hayes says we're perfectly paired. That's hilarious.
But it's funny though, I mean, yeah, we are perfectly paired. I'll leave it at that.
It's about to be a laugh fest tonight. Okay. No, but seriously, we are. I'm the business, you're the science. And you've taught me a little bit about science.
Yeah,
I'm talking to you a little bit
about business too. Yeah. Yeah. And
who else we have to shout out?
Who's that?
We have to shout out Kofi Bonnie.
That's right.
And we have to shout out Stanley Hooker. They've been there. There's some day ones too. And that's another thing that I think we should be very proud of, Rick. I'm off script now. We had a list of questions, but I'm off script. But we should be very proud of the fact that we have people working with us who started when they were in college.
Right.
Kofi was in college, and he's been able to develop his skills through helping African ancestry, but then come back now that he's, this high-tech cybersecurity professional and help us get to the next level. In terms of data security. That's a great
point. Kofi was in college. He, I was working at Howard. He would come in and do like these interns or work part-time. And we just started talking about creating this program, this software to do these sort of analyses. And he had no science, genetics background, but he was a computer scientist. And he was a brother from Ghana. And, he understood the mission just like I did. And then Stanley Hooker, who was the day one from the very beginning also, when I was at Howard University. And then he goes, when I left Howard and went to Ohio, he comes to Ohio, and then he goes to graduate school, gets his PhD, comes back now as this human geneticist. I mean, I'm just so proud of him. I'm proud of both him and Kofi, to be honest with you. Those guys are amazing. And to know that, you know, I was there helping to guide the path and help nurture. You know, we both helped nurture it, and I think it was very important. We need to recognize that and appreciate that also. And you know, because that's part of a community. You know, that's part of what, you know, it's part of what we're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. I tell people all the time that we're recycling the Black dollar, because we have a Black customer, and then we employ over 10 people. And then, not to mention all the vendors and suppliers that we use. Like I already said, shout out to Share Vision, shout out to Nicole Taylor, shout out to Ty Brooks and Wendy Cherry and Gary Pettigrew and all these other independent contractors and business owners who have supported African Ancestry. So it just keeps recycling and recycling. And that's also something that we should be very proud of.
I am quite proud of that and excited, because it also reflects Black talent. You know, we have talent, you know, that at every dimension, and you know, sometimes it might not be quick or easy to find them, but they're out there, and that's the thing that always surprises me when you know, certain companies or institutions say we can't find that Black talent. It's right there. It's right there, and when you nurture it, it's phenomenal. So,
and I can't forget companies like Purpose Driven Media, Social Scoop, Sharice Kimbrough. Like, it doesn't matter. Anything we need, Jerome Page and Associates, anything, JLM for our HR support, Bridget Gagne and Associates for our accounting support, everything we need, we've been able to get from a Black business.
From our community. And so I don't want to hear anything when people say, oh, we can't find that talent. That's some garbage. You're not looking, or you're not really, you're not committed to it. And that's what, that's what we do. We're committed to that.
Right.
And you know, and of course we are, you know, we get some hate for that at times, right? Because then it's like, well, you guys, all you care about is Black people. Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Say that again, please. How do you respond when people say you only care about Black people?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you goddamn right.
I know that's right. Listen, we've impacted over 1 million people, Rick. But do you remember how hard it was at the beginning to get? We talked about the hate that we got, but how hard it was to convince people to give us their DNA.
But it wasn't really that hard, because I think, well, I mean, it was hard. I mean, you know, there was this educational, this curve of embracing us. But I think people connected with we shared the sensitivities of the community, and I think that made, you know, people more comfortable and said, okay, you know what, I think I'll try this. But you also had to increase the genetic literacy, because, you know, at that point, all we knew about DNA was like O.J. Simpson, you know, the O.J. Simpson trial. But yeah, we were able to get a critical mass of supporters, and then you know, think about the first 100 or the first 1,000 customers. You remember what they looked like? They came from an interesting demographic. You remember?
Yeah, I remember our first customer. Our first customer was C. Anita Bird. She's here in DC. She's a genealogist.
That's right.
And this was supplementing her genealogy research.
Right. And so the early adopters of the science and the technology were genealogists, avid genealogists, and they wanted another piece to that puzzle. And they also got it. They understood that this wasn't going to, you know, supplant or be more important than the paper documents, you know, the genealogy, traditional genealogy. But this is actually going to be another tool to say something, to build that narrative about your family history. And so, yeah, I would say the first 1,000 customers, probably 85% of them were genealogists. I mean, that was early on, and it was an older demographic, and but they were strong supporters. And I just remember going out there, in the community, going to those meetings, the different chapters around the country, the Black genealogists, and it was just exciting because I was learning a lot while I was providing the service.
Yeah, I was learning a lot too, Rick. So I didn't know anything about except the X chromosome and the Y chromosome. Mm-hmm. And I used to sit and watch your presentations, and then I had to start giving them myself. And at first I was all intimidated. I was like, oh my God. I was trying to write down every single word that you said.
Right.
And now I'm like, Rick, you're not doing it right. You need to say this.
Right.
You need to say this.
You need to position it this way. You need to position it this way. Right. But I remember the first times I would talk, and you would sit there and you just be like, and I can see the stress on you and I would be like, don't worry about this. Just, it just comes. And once it comes, it'll be straightforward. But I remember that was funny times.
I was worried. But you know what?
Do you remember that time we were in Denver? We had that huge, it had to be about 600-800 people there at that event.
It was when African American Lives was first airing. And we were in Denver with Wellington Webb, Mayor Wellington Webb, and they put together this citywide celebration. We tested Chauncey Davis from the Broncos. We tested Diane Reeves. We revealed the mayor. We revealed all. I do remember that. That was a big deal. And Richard Lockley was with us. May he rest in peace. He was out there with us. Wow.
That was big. That was for me a big turning point, because I was like, this is not gonna be a 5-year sort of burnout here. This is gonna be big. And that was very important in terms of I think for the company.
Well, and then we started doing the Pan African Film Festival. And oh my God, the Pan African. I had no idea this was going to be so funny. The Pan African Film Festival. Shout out to Doug Jackson talking about we are royalty. I'll take that.
What's up, Doug?
You feel royal. You feel regal. But yeah, so the very first one we did was Vanessa Washington, the one from the Soul Food movie.
Vanessa
Williams, Isaiah Washington, Congresswoman Diane Watson. And
she was the first. She was that first year. Okay.
Yeah. And you were down there, and Isaiah was like, "I'm not going to be in it. I don't want to." Right. And then as soon as you got down there, he came flying down the theater to jump up on the stage and put us on the map with his reaction.
Yeah, he hollered. I opened up the envelope and he just started hollering, jumping up and down. And I was like, security. But it was great because, I think ABC News picked that up or whatever. But it was, it was one of those heartfelt moments, and it also brought us to the West Coast.
Yeah, and I don't know that we had done a major reveal like that. I feel like in a public place, I feel like that was our highest level reveal, but that was like 2005. It was very early.
At that time, I think we've done, some.
Well, now,
at that time, that was big, and from that, Isaiah became a strong advocate and supporter, and promoted us a lot, and then went and did his own thing in Sierra Leone, which I thought was just spectacular.
Speaking of Sierra Leone, so I don't know if you saw this, but the Congressman Gregory Meeks, who was one of the Congress people we revealed in 2011, along with Congressman Bobby Rush and some others. He led a delegate. He's the first African-American head of the House Foreign Relations Committee. And he led a delegation this weekend to Sierra Leone. And we have some video of what he said when when they were at Bunce Island. I think Wendy's gonna.
Oh my God! Just rewarding for me to be here first with my wife, for her to. We often talk about our roots. Often we leave here, and I can remember when I first was elected to Congress, I said it's still true that members of the Congressional Black Caucus, many of us did not know where we came from, so we adopted the whole continent. And in this powerful thing called DNA, I was able through African ancestry check where my ancestors were from. And it revealed to me that it's right here in Sierra Leone. Mende tribe of chiefs, master politicians, leaders, world makers. And I come here now with my colleagues from the United States, from all over, world leaders. When I think about the power of who we are.
Did you ever think, Rick,
Wow.
on February 21st, 2003, that we were watching a video like this?
No, that's major. That's major. That's major. Yeah.
It's deep.
Yeah.
The impact of this work. And I remember when I first met you, Rick, before we were just introduced, and you were talking about how you wanted to do this work. You wanted to know where you were from, and how you would say you were from where Mandingo said he was from, and then you were from where Kunta Kinte said he was from.
Yeah. I was like many African Americans. I just, we end up romanticizing, trying to figure out where in Africa, where in this dark continent of Africa are we from? And so I would, whatever I read or saw on TV or was exposed to, I would say, yeah, I'm from, South Africa. I'm Zulu, or I'm Mandinka, I just wanted to know. And so I started creating that database. And first, I remember it because I remember when I tested myself, which was just the funniest story. I at that time we were drawing blood to collect the DNA, and not African ancestry, but I'm saying the research we were doing that. And I didn't want to draw my own blood, and I didn't want anybody else to do it. So I ended up plucking a hair off of my arm because I didn't have any hair on my head. I plucked one of these hairs off my arm. And, the hair shaft and the root, there's cells there, there's DNA. So I isolated that DNA, and that was my first mitochondrial DNA sequence that I compared to the database that I was creating at the time. And the first time I did it, I think it came up because I only had some Sudanese and some Ethiopian and some Nigerian, a couple of Nigerian tribes. And I ended up matching with these Ethiopians from East Africa. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I said, I got to get more and more data. And that's when I really started collecting more and more data. But once I was able to start filling these gaps, and in particular expanding the numbers within these ethnic groups, that's when I was like, we got some powerful data. We got some high resolution opportunities to make some high resolution calls. And excuse me, one of the things that I found interesting was we're doing this to try to provide a service to African Americans, and all these other companies, multi-million-dollar companies, have databases that are a fraction of what we have in terms of Africans, and they're moving along. They're not even thinking about African Americans or Africa, and that was the context in which this whole thing emerged, because I'm at Howard University. I'm trying to study genetics of African Americans and people of African descent. And there's not a lot of data out there. For so long, for so long, scientists, the biomedical industry did not care about people of African descent. And so they just studied Europeans and mainly like European men, and not even, you know, there wasn't a lot of diversity in these databases. And then I said, look, you know, I'm focused on Black people. I didn't get my PhD to study white people, and I don't want people to think I'm a racist. Don't walk away saying I said this. What I said is I got my PhD to study Black people, okay, and I wanted to provide a service to Black people, and that's it. That's the bottom line.
So what does it mean for a genetic ancestry tracing company to truly understand African DNA?
That's a great question. It's you got to understand it at multiple levels. The first level is the science, right? The genetics, you know, understanding the science of DNA and African DNA. And then you also have to understand the sensitivities that come with that, sort of the bioethics, not the biology or the science, but the bioethics. So I'll talk real quickly about the genetics and the science. You know, African people are part of the oldest communities in the world, and humanity started in Africa. So there's a lot of genetic variation in Africa, and so there is historically there's been this lack of appreciation of that genetic variation. But now people are embracing it. They're getting excited about it, and there's a lot of research going on within Africa, and then also outside of Africa among people of African descent, because they recognize that there's a lot of variation there. So the science suggests that for African Americans, that we are a mixture of different African ethnic groups from West Africa, West and Central Africa, and then also ancestry from Europeans and Native Americans. And if you don't understand that, then you're not going to be able to take advantage of that genetic variation that you see in the DNA of African Americans. So we understand that. In fact, I've developed methodologies and tools to explore that variation that's unique in the African American population. But the other area that we need to understand, besides the science, is the ethics and the role that science has played in the history of African people, and this whole issue of racializing humanity, and then not only, you know, creating these so-called races, but also creating a hierarchy of which groups are superior to others. All of that started, you know, early on in the history of when Europeans started moving around the world and engaging populations that were different from them. And so we have to understand that, you know, that when we talk about the science of DNA and people of African descent, we have to protect that. We have to protect that information. We have to protect those lineages. And we have to not stereotype. We have a responsibility not to buy into this whole racialization, marginalization, and exploitation. And I say that, you know, I can't say this enough. And this is my biggest fear. And this is one of the reasons why, and Gina knows this, when we first started, I made sure that I partnered with somebody who had the same level of sensitivities that I have. So what's happening now is, you know, I think 23andMe actually started doing this. They started having these discussions about democratizing DNA or providing access to DNA, to other people's DNA profiles. And to me, that's wrong, especially when you're talking about Black people, because we're always going to end up being exploited. And so that's why we don't provide any service where people who get our test can put their information on a website and share it with the world. I'm not going to support anything like that, because there are so many ways in which we can be exploited and marginalized. And so how is that possible? Well, obviously, you know, the law enforcement databases. Law enforcement now, all they do is go to these websites that people put their information on, and they download it daily. They download the data daily and put it in their criminal databases. And so what the fascinating thing is, nowadays, we don't even have to look for 100% match from a crime scene and an individual. we can find a 50% match and say, oh, that person is a sibling. The person who committed that crime is a sibling of this person. So you don't even have to be a criminal and still get caught up in criminal investigations. And we know that Black people are always the target of these sort of things. So I've always wanted to I think Danielle just put that word on there, safeguard our DNA. I love that word, safeguard our DNA, and not put us in a position where we're exploited. Because I do not want to wake up 20 years from now and feel that I put Black folk or the Black community in a position where they were exploited because of their DNA. It's your DNA is like your social security number. It's like your fingerprint, and you don't want to share that with everybody. Some people don't even want to share their signatures. I mean, your DNA profile is your profile, but it's not just yours. It's your family members too, and that's the other thing that I want people to understand. You shouldn't think that that you can go out and say, well, I made the decision to share my DNA. Well, you didn't talk to your other family members. You talking about sharing your DNA with other people on the internet is, to me, problematic. And so this whole democratizing DNA and access of your health records and all that stuff, I have a problem with that. And I think that the African American community should have strong safeguards around that type of information. Gina, where'd you go?
Well, I was just taking some more notes for my next presentation. I want to thank you, Rick, on behalf of everybody in the chat. I want to thank you for taking that stance, because we have had this conversation a lot, and I have learned from you that if we as Black people don't participate in research, we're going to get left behind when personalized medicine takes off and all sorts of other things. So people are going to have to start sharing some parts of their very important information in order for us to have the tools for improving our physical well-being. And that's what 19 years of being in this business has done. It's established us as an organization that has respect and integrity for our community. Right. And you couldn't have said it better. So
no, but the point you raised about research is important. I mean, we have to be involved in research. But it's a different thing than putting your DNA profile on some GEDmatch website where it's shared with everybody in the world.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, if you go to Howard University and say, I want to participate in a genetic study, you're going to have to sign a consent form. It's a legal document. They can't share that with anybody. They're not going to give it to some other people or whatever. They're going to do exactly what they say they're going to do for that protocol, for that research project. And that all of that emerged from, years of legal actions based on, events like Henrietta Lacks and the syphilis study. So there's safeguards now.
Yeah,
that's one thing. And we need to be involved in that research, because if we don't, we're going to be left behind. But to go to a company and give them your money and then tell them that you can do whatever you want to do with my DNA, or get your DNA and then put it online to share with everybody, is problematic.
Yeah. That's right, everybody. It's our 19th anniversary. Dr. Kittles and I, we've been in this game for 19 years. So the average business, small business, I don't think lasts 3 years. You get to 5 years and you've done something tremendous. You get to 10 years and you got bragging rights. We're at 19 years. We're not new to this. Shout out to Doug Jackson, who says, we've been doing this revolutionary work for 19 years. How can the community help us grow for another 19 years?
Well, good question. As we continue to work on the science, we will offer some new products that are going to be enormously insightful for understanding our ancestry, even more so than what we have now, because the science and the technology is rapidly and still rapidly evolving. So we're going to have some new products in the very near future. And then we also, maybe we should start having some discussions around this issue of health and precision medicine and all of that, because I think that if anybody in this arena, in industry, is talking about this in the Black community, it should be us.
It should.
So I think Gina and I should actually start talking about this more to see how the community feels and how much you would want to embrace in it. But yeah, there are some products coming down the road that in the very near future that I think you all are going to be excited about.
One of the other things, I feel like I got to keep coming back to the history. One of the other things that has happened over the course of our 19 years is we've had some African ancestry babies. So imagine that. We went from just be me, my mother, and Richard in this one room office. Now we've got this staff of over 10 people. We've got babies. Shout out to Simone, who brought Bo into the world under the African Ancestry family umbrella. Shout out to Rolando, who brought Maple into the world under this African Ancestry family umbrella. I mean, our team is now we got families. It used to be a bunch of single folks up in here. Jasmine is here, and Deshawn and Hazel. The company is just really growing, and we're able to bring more things in-house so that we're not relying on outsourcing everything as much as we have been. And I'm excited about the new energy. Every time you come on the call, there's new people, new faces. We have to go through introductions. Chinwe is on the team. We got somebody holding it down with data analysis, data analytics now. So I'm very proud of that. But most importantly, Rick, do you see all these comments in the chat?
Yeah, I see. I'm looking at them. Folks are talking about this precision medicine and health. I love it.
And they rock with us every week. I mean, I could go through this list and tell the majority of these people are on here every week. Darnell Clayton, they are holding.
Darnell, yeah.
So I want to thank all of you for being on here with us, all because we are you.
Right, they're soldiers. They're soldiers.
We wouldn't be without you guys. So thank you so much. So Rick, one of the things we do every week is true to our hip hop roots. We play a game called Fact or Whack.
Right. Fact or whack.
Fact or whack. And you know what? Shout out to Wendy. Yes, there's a sale going on right now for our birthday, our anniversaries. 10% off the entire site. So people who've been looking at those pendants, people who've been looking at the gold pendants.
Those pendants are slamming.
Listen, now's the chance. If you've been wanting to get a t-shirt for everybody in the family, they're 10% off. If you've been looking at that next kit, you've already traced your maternal line. Now you want to trace your father's maternal line. You can get 10%.
I want to say something though. I do got to say.
Okay, say something.
Yeah, early on, I had said something to you about these shirts. We should make these t-shirts, and you were like, no. And I was like, I'm going to go back to the lab. What's all this stuff we have here now? Hats and t-shirts and pendants. I'm like,
because we can outsource.
Do this earlier.
Because we can outsource. Because we got a team. Before, a t-shirt meant we had to order those joints, fold those joints, put them in bags, stack them on shelves, put them in
Look, I just got to tell everybody, Gina dissed me, man. She was like, no. She said, go back to the lab.
I don't know what he's talking about, people. I have no idea what he's talking about. But I love that all of you guys are in here. Bridget Tapp. So shout out to Bridget. Bridget was on the first trip to Cameroon. You didn't come on the first trip. Remember when we went with 54 people to Cameroon in 2010?
Yeah, that was amazing. It was amazing.
Then we went back. Mm-hmm. You came on the second trip and there were 92 people.
Right. When you went back, yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing.
Now we're going to Sierra Leone. This year we're going to Ghana. We were going to
Gabon. When are you going to go to Gabon?
We don't have Gabon on the list.
Oh, well, you got to put it on the list, man.
Okay. All right. Now to fact or whack. You asking me questions and making me look bad. Okay, everybody. So this is how we play fact or whack. When Rick's gonna read the statement, and then I want to see in the emojis whether you think this is a fact or whether this is whack. This is going to test your African ancestry historical knowledge. All right, Rick, it's on you.
Okay. Oh, the question, I have to read it?
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Washington was the first celebrity to join the African ancestry family, tracing his ancestry to the Hausa people found in Nigeria today. Fact.
Okay, don't answer. Don't answer.
I'm not saying no fact or whack. That's what I'm saying.
All right, y'all. Is that fact or whack? Was Isaiah our first celebrity to join the fam? I see a bunch of whacks.
Did he trace his ancestry to the Hausa people in Nigeria?
This is a twofold fact or whack.
Right. So it all has to be facts. It all has to be facts, or it all has to be whack.
The buffalo, that's a different name, says not a fact. I love that. Bridget said whack cited. All right, they got this one. Is it fact or whack?
That's whack. We just said that he went to camp, he went to Sierra Leone, so yeah.
And he wasn't the first celebrity. LeVar Burton was the first celebrity to take the test. Do you remember that?
I thought it was Spike Lee.
Nope, it was LeVar Burton.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
So why was LeVar? How did that happen? Tell us the story with LeVar Burton.
Well, we thought, because remember they were calling us the 21st century roots.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought, well, if we're the 21st century roots, then Kunta Kinte needs to know where he's from. And so we reached out and he did it. We've never met him in person, but he did it, and we traced him to the Hausa people in Nigeria. So that is his fact. Okay, what's the next one?
Our first national reveal was the Honorable Ambassador Andrew Young in 2004. Our first national reveal. Wow, these are hard questions.
All right, so is that fact or whack? Lisa wants to know, is that on YouTube? Is what on YouTube, Lisa? Fact or whack? Was Ambassador Andrew Young our first national reveal? Oh, they're saying fact. Everybody's on the fact bandwagon. Latanda, Karen. Shout out to Cynthia Malachi White, one of my aunts up in Philadelphia. All right. So is it fact or whack, Rick? Hazel says fact.
It was fact.
King Joseph in the house. You got it, King Joseph. Fact. Yes.
All right. You got another one?
I think so. Okay. There you go.
Good. I have to read it?
You want me to read it?
Yeah, I thought we were tag teaming this.
Okay, we'll tag team. In 2020, African Ancestry Radio launched on Sirius XM. In 2020, African Ancestry Radio launched on Sirius XM. Shout out to people like Sangu Jakam and Nicole Salter, who created the Continuum Project based on African ancestry. Okay, we got some I don't knows, we got some whacks. All right,
a lot of whacks. There's a lot of whacks.
The whacks got it. So I think we started that in 2015 when we launched African Ancestry Radio. We had 2 seasons. We had people like Will Calhoun from Living Color. We had Louis Gossett Jr. on, Anjanou Ellis.
Yes.
On. We had a lot of good people.
I think for me, probably one of the most exciting was when we did Lou Gossett Jr. That was for me very exciting. When we revealed. We did that. That was at the Pan African Film Festival.
Everybody, we're telling you all these facts. You can go to our blog at africanancestry.com/blog. Wendy's gonna put it in. I'm not looking at my notes. Oh my God. I'm having too much fun to be looking at the details. Check out our blog, africanancestry.com/19facts to get more facts about our past 19 years. Is that it, Wendy? Do we have any more
So Cheryl Washington just asked a good question. Will African Ancestry have an app? That is something that I would love to, especially with the new product. That would be dope.
So we do have an app right now, the status app for people. So that's another big accomplishment. In 2020, 2021, we went completely virtual. And so people get their test, they have to activate their kit online on the app, and then they can go into the app and track the status of their results. And then they can go online and read their results and see their certificate. But we're upgrading the app.
Right. That to have that connect with the new product is going to be dope, though. I think.
Yeah. Okay, we have one more. Oh, okay, one more. African Ancestry has the largest database of African lineages of any genetic ancestry tracing. If y'all don't get this one right, you're fired. Everybody needs to get this one right.
Facts on facts. That's right.
Facts on facts. That's right. All my people coming through. I love it. You guys are making me so proud in front of Rick. I just love this. Mike L, Vicky, all of y'all, Stacy Ann, Steady Rock. And we listen, did you ever think we'd be on Love and Hip Hop?
I wasn't on Love and Hip Hop, so I don't know. So
we were on.
Did you ever think you would be on? Did I ever think you would be on Love? Of course, I thought you'd be on it. No, I don't. No, but seriously, that was dope. But wasn't it? I'm sure that was interesting, right? The taping was quite interesting.
It was, but you know what? Nothing in the part where we were taping was a typical Love and Hip Hop episode.
Right. It was almost like they were on Good Behavior. Right?
Because that's what this information warrants. It's serious, life-changing information. And so everybody dealt with it with respect. And then we have a theme song. You heard our theme song. Who'd have thought we'd have a theme song? We've been doing big things, Dr. Kittles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been around 19 years.
Yeah, we need to be doing big things. Well, listen, we have this quiz, everybody. You can take the Find Your Tribe quiz and see which ethnic group you think you may have the most in common with. But then you can take the test to get the real answer for yourself. You can catch past episodes of the African Ancestry Experience on YouTube. Wendy's putting the URL up on the screen. If you're watching us on the replay, put the birthday cake emoji up. These people during y'all are giving us so much love, but I swear I missed my birthday cake. I don't think I saw my birthday cakes. I want to see these birthday cakes in the comments so we know that you're celebrating with us. This doesn't happen very often that we get Dr. Kittles on here. And Rick, I want to thank you for 19 years.
Yeah, thank you. It's been wonderful. Let's do it. Let's do another 19.
Another 19, huh?
Yep.
Whew, that's making me tired. February is a really important month for us here. I know you're doing a lot of speaking. Typically, you travel the world, as do I. And just because we're virtual doesn't mean it slows down. So I appreciate you getting this in on your schedule. And I appreciate you all joining us at 8:30, because that's part of the reason why we're on at 8:30 tonight. I can't imagine spending our anniversary. Our team, we don't usually celebrate the anniversary internally. And today our team did. They sent us gifts, Rick. You got a gift? I saw your gift. I got a gift. And we have the best team. I hope that I didn't leave anybody out, because everybody means something here at African Ancestry. Everybody on our team works very hard, is very committed. This is an ancestral imperative that we are working under, and it extends into our extended family. Sandy, shout out to Dr. Sandy. Oh, I didn't mention Diallo. Woo! Wait a minute. Shout out to Diallo Sumbri. Diallo is African Ancestry on the continent. Hands down. This brother is holding it down for us and helping us to grow our travel program, grow our relationships with the governments of different African countries, business leaders, political figures. Diallo is a very important part of our team, and he's always late to the meeting, so it's okay that I was late to his shout out. But anyway, Rick, you got any closing words you want to say to the people?
No, I'm just honored and excited that we're celebrating today, and I'm just honored by the support that we're getting, and I just want to also honor you, Gina. You've steered this ship so on point for 19 years, and I got nothing but mad love for you. You've done what very few people probably could have done in the world, and that's work with me. So
I'm definitely your longest relationship. That's for sure. I can say that's facts on facts on facts. Shout out to Barry Payton and the King.
Oh man, that's funny.
They're always holding it down for us. Mike L wants to know, can you come on? I don't know if he said twice a month or twice.
Yeah, I can come on more
regularly.
Yes, I can. Yes.
And kick the science. Okay, this is great. Everybody, thank you for the hearts and the flowers and the birthday cakes and all the emojis. Thank you for being here. Kalechi's in the house for the hand claps. Ronald, Angel, Roxanne. We're going to be back our regular time on Wednesday, this Wednesday, but I said our regular time. It's our regular day, but not our regular time. We're going to be at 8:30. So Rick, I'm going to be chatting it up with Domity, who was the host of the Lineage to Legacy episodes that we participated in. So that's going to be fun. Everybody listen, thanks again for joining us, Rick. Thank you for being here. You all heard it. We have it on tape. So he said he's going to come back more often. Shout out to my mother again and my father. Shout out to Dr. Cynthia Winston Proctor. All these names. I love all of you guys. Thanks for being here. Listen, yes, we got a cool Black geneticist. Yes, we do. Until we meet again, everybody, may you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be whole.
I wanna know ya, Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya, Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya.